and Exchange by William Beach and Shannon Murray and Andy Elazer. In terms of data trends, our personal assessments point toward a positive trend in technological advancement in regards to accessing data from our digital assemblages. For example, the way William accessed data, in this case music, during his childhood was by tapes and records. As an adult, William accesses music through his iPhone, which functions as a digital music player and a cell phone. For Shannon, this correlation is positive as well. As a child, she was accessed data, literature, via physical copies of books, and as an adult, she now accesses data from books displayed by her digital e-reader, a Nook. For Andy, as a child, he accessed data through several devices and used a Razr flip phone as his mode of communication, as well as to access extra data. Now he uses his iPhone as a source of all this information. In this case, we are accessing the same or similar content now as we did in our childhood. For instance, when William was a child, he liked to listen to the Eagles on tape as well as an adult. He likes to listen to the Eagles on his iPhone. The only difference is in the way he accesses this data. This trend points toward increasing simplicity for the user when retrieving data. Nowadays, we are only a couple buttons or touchscreen clicks away from listening to music or reading a book. Whereas when we were kids, we had to either check out a book we wanted to read from the library or buy it at the bookstore. If nighttime came when we were reading, we'd have to resort to some artificial external light source to continue our reading. On the other hand, if we wanted to play music when we were kids, we would need both a cassette tape and a cassette tape player, not to mention the possible need for external speakers or headphones. The second data trend that we see across our assemblages is that of the function of codes within our assemblages. Coding is the processes which consolidate and rigidify the identity of the assemblage, or, on the contrary, allow the assemblage a certain latitude for more flexible operation while benefiting from genetic or linguistic resources. This is also known as decoding. When I look at the coding of books, we see the implementation of universal design via a specific formatted text. In the coding of ebooks, there is the use of coding by way of specific formatted text within the parameters of the computer code that is fed to the processors on the electronic reader. So, the only difference in this is the receiver of code for books, being a typewriter or printer, for the Nook is a computer chip. The format of the code may slightly be different due to the difference in each code reader, but in the end, the result is still the same. In comparison to the coding in the previous slide, the coding we noticed within William's assemblage was that the use of a universal design and the aesthetic used within both tape cassettes and MP3 players was such as the iPhone. MP3 players such as the iPhone. For tape cassettes, the design of the tape is universal so that it may be played within multiple varied cassette players each and every time. In terms of the aesthetics of the design, there is usually album artwork found within the name of the band in the artwork. If the name is not placed on the album cover, it most always is found on the neck of the cassette tape container or on the tape itself. As you can gather, the function of coding found on the neck of this cassette tape As you can gather, the function of the coding for our assemblages was to drop territory to which our assemblages would fall under. It gives each of our devices a specific identity that is universally known due to its specific coding. Codes form the framework for both our MP3 players to our books and many more items. What do these trends say about society and culture? These trends say a lot about society and culture. For one, the ease of accessing information shows how our information society is based on the availability of materials. We, as a society, have moved much more into finding multi-purpose materials and shifting more towards those, compared to individual objects that are only good for a few small things. We have also shifted toward using more objects that are easier for the user to handle and more user-friendly. In the graph displayed, it demonstrates the frequency of traits displayed on the new modern assemblages. As you can tell, in all the new assemblages, the user is a component, there is more complexity, more storage, it is more user-friendly, a battery usage, and there are digital usages. In two of these three assemblages, however, the devices have lights. This shows that society and culture is more demanding of these traits and is creating more devices with it. It being the traits. What is changing us and what are we becoming? What is changing us is the need for more convenience and access. We are being influenced by digitization and ease of access, as well as our desire for more information all the time. We are becoming a multi-purposed, digitized society based on technology. In the graph displayed, the before blue bars represent what the original assemblages were composed of, and the red bars, the after bars, demonstrate what they were composed of after. The original devices only had 2 batteries, which means the tapes and the razor phone, whereas the new devices, they all had batteries, which would be the iPhone, the MP3 player, and the Nook. In the original devices, only one had metal and technical parts, which was the razor phone, and in the new devices, all 3 of the devices had metal and technical parts. In the original devices, only the razor phone could be used for more than one purpose, and in the new devices, all 3 can be seen using more than one thing. And none of the original devices had touchscreens, but in the new devices, all 3 had touchscreens. Touchscreens, in general, are easier to use and represent how we are looking for the easiest way to access information. Oddities. One oddity that can be pointed out is that Shannon's original device was not technical at all. It was a book. A book, it is a type of technology, but it is not digitized, and it has been around for thousands of years. This made the information and the analysis a bit odd because it was a different type of technology shift. The tapes to MP3 and the razors to iPhone shift were digital devices that advanced into different devices. It was interesting to see how something not even digital became completely digital and an e-reader. The first main problem encountered during this project was that the other group members did not contribute to this project. So, not all the data spread that could be gathered was gathered. This means that there may be a skew in the data from such a small data set with only 3 samples. The other problem, similar to the oddity, was that not all the original types were digital. Some were a pre-digital era, such as the book. Does our assemblage ontology need to be improved or shifted? We do not think that the assemblage ontology needs to be shifted, only specified. For instance, the assemblage is defined by relations of exteriority, which is when a component is a part of an assemblage that may be detached and plugged into a different assemblage where its interactions were different. We do not see a need to improve this definition, simply specify it further, such as a digital assemblage. We'd like to thank you for your time and hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you!